The Witness. I haven't watched a Chinese movie in a long time. I actually used to watch a lot of Chinese movies when I was younger. There were a lot of good ones. Actually, one of my favorite movies ever, it's a Chinese movie called Butterfly. And I saw this one randomly, like last week, and I was like, oh, Luhan's in this. That's a good excuse to watch this. Of course, Luhan, formerly from EXO, he was the second person to leave EXO. And I was like, you know what? He left the group for this. I want to see this movie. And I'm not gonna lie, I totally, watched it online for free, and the subtitles were so fucking small. I could barely watch it. I was gonna watch it, in bed on my tablet, and then I was like, what? And I was like, okay, fuck it, I'll watch it on my laptop. The subtitles were still so fucking small. I was, glued to the screen. And I wear glasses, I'm blind as shit, but they were so fucking small, so, yeah, it was kinda hard to follow it sometimes, but I did not expect to be so into it. I actually did not watch any trailers, which is something I rarely do. You know, I know a lot of trailers spoil everything, and, there's this big movement now. More and more people have just stopped watching trailers altogether because they don't want to spoil anything, blah, blah, blah. I actually don't give a shit about spoilers. I like watching trailers because I want to know what I'm getting into. I don't like going into a movie blind. That's not something I like to do. I want to know what I'm getting into. I want to have a basic understanding of what it is I'm about to watch. And if the trailer spoils everything, well, fuck it. It's my fucking fault for watching it, and I'm fine with that. And I've always been like this. I've never had any issues with someone telling me the ending of something. That's fine. I'm still gonna watch it. It doesn't ruin the experience for me. So I'm one of those people that's just like, I'm over people complaining about spoilers because it's not an issue for me. But in this case, I decided not to watch the trailer. I just went into it blind. And I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't expect to be, like I said, so into it. It's 2 hours long, but it didn't feel like it at all. And I didn't know what the story was. I figured because it's called The Witness, it's gonna be like Luhan becomes a witness to a mafia thing or a corporate thing, and it's gonna be one of those boring ass movies that I don't enjoy. But it was actually a lot, I was actually invested in the story. It's about a girl that's blind. She used to be a police officer, and she gets into a taxi, and the driver runs over a girl. And he's like, no, it's fine, it's a dog, it's fine. And he, leaves her in the rain, and they fight, whatever. She goes to the police, and she's like, it wasn't a dog, I know what I heard. And, of course, the police don't believe her. She's blind, she's not a reliable witness. She's like, it was a woman. This is what I felt when I got in the car, blah, blah, blah. And, Luhan comes into the scene as an actual witness. He was there. And he's like, it wasn't a taxi. It was a luxury car. And she's like, no, it was a taxi. So they start fighting, whatever. And of course, who are they gonna believe? Luhan, who is a punk. He's like this skateboarding punk that just wants the reward. Or this blind woman that's an unreliable witness. And it turns out it wasn't a taxi. It was a luxury car. Luhan was telling the truth. And it goes from there. It turns out that it's this serial killer that kidnaps women through a dating app. He meets them and he picks them up and then kills them, whatever. And I was like, it was a bit ridiculous at points. This is a very active serial killer. Serial killers usually have a pattern, or they kill every once in a while. This guy was every fucking night. This was the most active serial killer I've ever fucking seen. And honestly, his reasoning, it comes into the movie, why he's doing this, blah, blah, blah. It's the most boring cliche thing ever. He's just fucking weird, right? Just don't, if you're gonna give him a cliched reason for doing what he's doing, don't even give him a reason. Just say he's fucking crazy and he's doing it just because. But they do go into, you know, how this started and why he's doing it, and it was a bit ridiculous. But I really enjoyed it. I was really into it. I was really into the actual investigation. Will they catch him? And how can this blind woman be of help? And it was interesting because just before I watched it, I watched a show on TV about guide dogs for blind people, and then I watched this, and it's like, okay, that's a blind girl. And then right after this I started watching Angel Eyes, and again the main character is a blind girl. I'm like, that was like a weird string of coincidences. Over like 3 days I just watched things with blind people, and it was interesting to see the different takes on it. And she did have a dog in the movie, and it was interesting to see like small details. Like, one thing that stood out to me is how she brushes her teeth, because, you know, it's something that you never think about with blind people. How do they do the things that they do? And because she can't really put the toothpaste on the toothbrush correctly, she puts it on her finger and then she puts it on the toothbrush. I thought that was interesting. Like, small little details that I picked up, like, okay, that's interesting. That's how she does it. And Luhan was great in this movie, by the way. I didn't know what to expect from him. I didn't know if he was going to be good or not. I don't know if this is the only movie he's done since he left. I'm not sure, but he was actually good. Like, he was a fucking asshole, but he was a helpful asshole. Like, he actually cared about catching this guy at some point, and he was being helpful in the investigation, because he saw that the main girl, she couldn't really help that much. You know, she could identify his voice, she could sort of describe the interior of the vehicle, like she was feeling the leather seats and all that, and she felt his hand, and she said that he wore his watch on the right hand, which means that he's left-handed, and which, that's bullshit. I'm left-handed and I still wear my watch on the left hand, like, and I should stop, because I just bought a new watch and it's big. Like, I bought the new Sony smartwatch 3 and it's fucking big, and I cannot write with it. Like, I'm left-handed, so I write in school and I cannot write with it, and I fucking hate wearing my watch on the right hand. Like, that's awful. So, first world problems right there. We should stop writing at school, because it interferes with my watch wearing thing. So yeah, and this movie was just, it was great. It went by really quickly. You know, the ending is the most unoriginal ending ever, of course. You know how it ends, but it was still like a fun, I shouldn't say fun, but yeah, it was very enjoyable. It was very enjoyable to see how a blind person can actually be of assistance in an investigation like this. It was actually well made, I think. And the characters were likable. I really liked the main girl, and I really, you know, she wasn't just this useless character that was there just to move the plot along. She wasn't like a damsel in distress just because she was blind, and she didn't have to rely on everyone else around her just because she was blind. She was actually doing pretty well by herself. And you know, the only thing her only mistake was getting into a car. She got in the wrong car. She thought that she was calling, you know, she called a cab, and he thought that she was someone from the app. So that was a misunderstanding. Like, she got in the wrong car, and that was it. And he realized her, like, the mistake when she said that, oh, this is a luxury taxi, and he's like, shit, she's not from the app. I shouldn't fucking kill her. So yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that she, you know, that was her only mistake. It was a misunderstanding, and it goes from there. And it's, you know, being at the wrong place at the wrong time. And Luhan was actually great. I haven't watched, I know Chris has been in a couple of movies. He's gonna star in a new one called something. I think his name is Mr. Six in it. He looks great. Like, he looks like a fucking villain in it. So I'm tying me up for that. But I haven't watched, I don't know if Tao has been in a movie or anything. I don't think so. But yeah, if Luhan makes more movies, I'll watch them because his songs have been interesting, to say the least. The songs that he's released since leaving EXO have been they have been interesting. So I'm gonna stick to his movies instead of his music from now on. Hopefully he does more movies like this. This was really fun. It went by really quickly, and it was just interesting to see. Like I'm watching more Korean movies now, and I missed watching Chinese movies. Like I said, can't remember the last one I watched. It was years ago. Oh my God, years ago. I found this website, and this was like almost 10 years ago, but I found this website that had just like a bunch of movies online, and I was like, sweet, I can watch movies all fucking day. And they had like a bunch of Chinese movies, and I just started watching them all. And some of them were bizarre. Like, I remember, and I cannot for the life of me find that movie, but there was a movie about the porn industry, but it was fictionalized, but there was like watermelon involved, and they were having sex with water bottles, and like I was like 12 when I watched that, 11 or 12, and I was like, what am I watching? They were like really bizarre movies about, like there was this guy in like a shiny leotard like dancing in a fountain, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm watching. So I have like really great memories of watching Chinese movies back in the day. Hopefully I can someday find that movie with the watermelons. But yeah, it was great. So yeah, The Witness, really fun, recommend it. And it's not, it's the typical let's catch the serial killer, but it has a little twist on it. Because she's blind and she's not an unreliable witness, it makes things more interesting. Like, how is she going to be helpful? How is she going to be of assistance? So I really enjoyed it, The Witness. I'm glad I watched it. Hopefully I can watch more movies these days. I'm waiting on a few movies. Hopefully I can watch with my family. I haven't watched a movie with my family in forever, and I want to watch Steve Jobs and Spotlight. Spotlight looks great, so I'm going to try to watch those in the next few days. And yeah.
事故是怎么发生的？
那天我上车，闻到了一种很奇怪的味道。
你真的确定吗？
我用我这2只眼睛清清楚楚地看到了。
我是看不见，但是我能听见。
我再说一次，我万分肯定，我靠那个家伙眼睛了。
你撒谎！